Both the FSF and general free software advocates frequently talk about the importance of online privacy, the importance of controlling and owning your own data, and the dangers that are associated with untapped digital surveillance. And while that may be the case, there is a very common misconception I see surrounding the idea of free software, and that is that if the software, invades your privacy or does any of those other things that proprietary software that you don't like do, then that software cannot be free software. And at least from what I have read, that doesn't matter, it's still free software. If we look at the 4 freedoms of free software, those being the freedom to run the program as you wish for any purpose, the freedom to study how the program works and change it so it does your computing as you wish, access to the source code is a precondition for this, the freedom to redistribute copies so you can help others, and the freedom to distribute copies of your modified version to others. By doing this, you give the whole community a chance to benefit from your changes. Access to the source code is a precondition for this. There's nothing in here that states that if you have, let's say a direct competitor to Google Analytics, and even if the FSF and free software advocates absolutely despise what your software is actually doing and the software is incredibly evil, even if it is implementing everything that Google Analytics does, if it is licensed under a free software license, it is still free software. And looking through something like GPL v3, there are absolutely no references to the kinds of software that you're allowed to make. And this is one of the great things about free software. So if you wanted to go and make a free software version of the lockdown browser, that web browser that you can't close while an exam is happening, it's effectively just a rootkit. If you want to make a free software version of Google Analytics or any of the other tracking software out there, that is something that you can do. Because there's no way you're going to stop this software sort of propagating, but a free software version of it, even if you don't like the idea of the software existing altogether, is still better than the proprietary version where you have absolutely no idea how it works. Unlike something like ethical source, where certain types of things are not allowed to be made. So while free software isn't strictly about privacy, and the software being free software doesn't inherently make it privacy respecting, software being free software, or at least source available, is a prerequisite to actually have privacy. So when someone says that free software is more private or is more secure, it's not because the software is free, or if I want to use a better term, is libre. It's because the software gives the users and gives developers the ability to actually check. Take something like Facebook. So on the Facebook website, if you go into like the security and privacy settings, there are buttons in there to disable, showing certain things in your profile, disable certain sorts of tracking, sending certain information to their advertising partners. So they can tell you what these buttons do. But there have been cases of other websites giving you buttons that are basically pseudo buttons and they don't do anything. It just gives the user peace of mind. But if that software was open source or free software, you could actually then go and check, okay, I modified this slider. This is what it actually is supposed to do. Hey, look, it doesn't work or it does work. And if it doesn't work, and it's something that runs locally on your computer, you could then go and fork the application and fix the problem. You could submit an issue about it so someone else can fix it. You could submit a patch so you could fix it yourself, and other people can actually, use a better version of the software. And then if it's something running on a website, you could then go and self-host the better version that actually has the working buttons. And the exact same applies to security. All you have to go by is what the company claims. If they say it's private and they say it's secure, that's really all you have to work with, unless by some absolute miracle they do a third-party code audit and it's actually a fair audit and they release the audit publicly, and then you have at least something. But outside of that, there is no way to verify what they are saying if you can't check it or someone you trust can't check it themselves. So why is it then that there is such a focus on privacy? Well, I can't speak for every single person involved. I'm sure everyone has their own individual reasons, but coming from where I'm standing, it's not like you just have to have a single concern. While the main concern of free software is reducing or eliminating the need to use proprietary software, you can also have secondary goals as well, and by increasing the amount of free software out there, you are going to be increasing the amount of privacy as well, and that might be something that you're also interested in. It doesn't have to be something you're concerned with, but judging by how many people directly tie these things together as if they're inseparable, there is clearly a lot of people who do think that privacy is incredibly important. So with that being the case, if privacy is such a concern, and there are a bunch of articles on the FSF website about privacy and from a bunch of free software advocates about privacy, and a lot of people who support free software seem to be focused on privacy, if that is the case, why not just limit the ability to actually cause privacy violations in the first place? Well, I sort of touched on this earlier, but there may be legitimate reasons why you have to violate privacy to do some sort of use. So let's say you have opt-in telemetry. I know people are going to say, but telemetry is bad, full stop. I disagree. I completely disagree. I don't like telemetry, but if you click that button that says, I am willing to send you my DNA samples and my blood, well, that's a you problem. You shouldn't have clicked that button. I don't really care at that point. If the telemetry is opt-in, collect whatever you want as long as you're telling me exactly what you are collecting. Or what about video surveillance and facial recognition software? While this might sound really scary at a mass scale, let's say a government is using this on all of their citizens. Yeah, that sounds pretty bad. But what about at a more local level? Let's say you have a local server running in your basement, and that is running a video surveillance system just to check, there's no intruders or anything like that. And then you have the facial recognition so that if someone who isn't supposed to be at your house is detected, it will then mark a timestamp so you know when that person was there. That, I think, is actually a really positive use case. And then you get into the whole thing of self-hosted Internet of Things. Let's say we go back to that video surveillance and it detects that your car is at the driveway. So it goes and automatically opens up your garage door for you without you having to do anything. That, sure, it's using this technology that can be used for really evil things, and you can have proprietary versions that, you don't know how it's working. But if it's all free software, I don't think that's a bad thing. By applying a technical limitation to these licenses, all you're really doing is impeding their usefulness and making it so projects that otherwise would use a free software license would use a different license or would just straight up go proprietary. And I don't want that, because it's better for that software to be free software than for it to be proprietary, and I think we can all agree on that. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Do you think I'm completely wrong and have no idea what I'm talking about? I want to find out. So if you like this video and you want to support the channel and become one of these amazing people over here, please go check out my Patreon subscribers only Barrow Pay, linked in the description down below. I've got a podcast called Tech Over Tea, available basically anywhere. I've got a gaming channel called Brodie Robertson Plays, where I live stream twice a week, upload about 5 or so YouTube shorts, and this channel is also available over on Odyssey. That's going to be it for me, and I'm out.